Here's something most people won't say out loud. Having few or no friends doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It often means something is different about you. And that difference? It's usually something rare, something most people won't understand until they see it. Society loves to frame friendship as a numbers game. More friends equals more success. More connections equals more happiness. But it's funny, we spend more time managing our social media connections than we do having actual conversations. Today, we're going to explore 5 rare traits that people with few or no friends often share. And I promise you, by the end of this, you'll see these traits not as limitations, but as indicators of something deeper. Chapter 1. Trait 1. The deep processor. The first trait is what I call being a deep processor. This means you don't just hear words, you analyze them. You don't just experience conversations, you dissect them. While everyone else moved on from that group chat 3 hours ago, you're still wondering what that one person really meant when they said, interesting? Was it genuine? Was it dismissive? Should you have responded differently? Here's the paradox. This deep processing is actually a gift. It means you notice things others miss. You understand nuance. You see patterns in behavior that fly completely under everyone else's radar. But it also means social interaction takes more energy for you. It's like running a supercomputer when everyone else is using a calculator. You're processing more data, which requires more recovery time. The key isn't to stop processing deeply. It's to find people who appreciate this quality. People who want depth over breadth, quality over quantity. Chapter 2. The high standards paradox. The next part might surprise you. It's having high standards, but not in the way you might think. People with few friends often have an extremely refined ability to detect inconsistency. They notice when someone's words don't match their actions. They pick up on subtle shifts in energy. They can tell when someone is being authentic versus performing. And what's interesting, while most people call this being picky, it's actually pattern recognition filtering. You're not being difficult, you're being discerning. Think about it this way. If you could see through walls, would you ignore what's behind them? If you could hear frequencies others couldn't, would you pretend not to notice? Your standards aren't walls keeping people out. They're filters ensuring the right people get in. Chapter 3. Trait 2. Excessive self-reliance. The second trait is a beautiful contradiction. Excessive self-reliance. And before you think that sounds like a strength, let me explain the paradox. When you've learned to handle everything yourself, asking for help feels foreign. When you've solved your own problems for years, reaching out seems unnecessary. When you've been your own support system, you forget that others might want to be part of it. And here's what's true. Vulnerability is the currency of connection. If you never need anyone, they'll eventually believe you. It's ironic, isn't it? The same independence that made you capable made you appear unavailable. The strength that carried you through hard times became the wall that kept connection out. But here's the shift. Self-reliance doesn't have to mean isolation. It can mean having the strength to choose connection instead of needing it. Chapter 4. The rich inner world. This one is actually rare. Having a rich inner world so elaborate that external relationships sometimes feel secondary. Some people have an internal landscape so vivid, so detailed, so fulfilling. That small talk feels like trading gold for pennies. Why discuss the weather when you're contemplating the nature of existence? This isn't arrogance, it's depth. The problem isn't that you think too highly of yourself. The problem is that you're used to operating at a frequency most people never reach. And when you try to share that inner world, when you open up about what really moves you, you've learned that most people don't know what to do with it. So you stopped sharing. But what I want you to understand, your inner world isn't a barrier to connection. It's an invitation for the right person to explore. Chapter 5. Trait 3. Authenticity requirement. The third trait might be the most misunderstood. It's what I call the authenticity requirement. You simply cannot fake it. You can't pretend to like someone you don't. You can't engage in conversations that feel hollow. You physically, emotionally, mentally cannot force yourself through social motions that feel inauthentic. And here's the thing. Society often calls this difficult. But refusing to be fake is actually a sign of remarkable integrity. Most people spend their lives wearing masks for different occasions. Work mask, social mask, family mask. They switch between versions of themselves so seamlessly they forget who they actually are. You refuse to play that game. And yes, it cost you some connections, but it preserved something far more valuable, your sense of self. Want to level up your people skills? Join our community on YouTube or on my Patreon for exclusive scripts, early access, and connection with people who get the social struggle. Links below. Let's master human interaction together. Chapter 6. The Energy Economics. Let's talk about something most people won't admit. Friendship has an energy cost, and some of us are running on different batteries. For highly sensitive people, for deep processors, for those with rich inner worlds, social interaction requires more fuel. It's not that you don't want connection, it's that connection genuinely costs you more. Think of it like this. Some people have a social battery that recharges through interaction. They gain energy from people. Others, they gain energy from solitude. Neither is better. They're just different operating systems. The problem isn't your energy capacity. The problem is trying to operate like someone with a completely different system. You can't run Mac software on a Windows machine and wonder why it's crashing. Chapter 7. Trait 4. Past experiences shaped you. Now I need to address something important. Many people with few friends carry experiences that taught them connection can hurt. Maybe someone you trusted betrayed you. Maybe opening up led to pain. Maybe you learned early that vulnerability was dangerous. And so you built walls, not to keep people out, but to keep yourself safe. The problem is that walls don't distinguish between threats and opportunities. They block everything. What I want you to hear, your caution makes sense. Your protective mechanisms were smart. They got you through. But the armor you needed then might be the weight holding you back now. The goal isn't to tear down your walls overnight. It's to build gates. Chapter 8. The Quality over Quantity Truth. Let me share something that might change your perspective. The number of friends you have has almost no correlation with life satisfaction. What does correlate? The depth of those connections. One genuine, reciprocal, meaningful friendship outweighs 50 surface-level acquaintances. So when you look at your social circle and feel like it's too small, ask yourself by whose standards? The people with hundreds of connections who feel lonely? Or your own internal measure of what actually fulfills you? You weren't built for shallow waters. You were built for depth. Stop measuring yourself by someone else's swimming pool. Chapter 9. Trait 5. You value different things. The fifth and final trait is perhaps the most fundamental. You simply value different things than most people. While others prioritize social status, you prioritize meaning. While others seek validation through numbers, you seek truth through depth. While others fill their calendars with events, you fill your mind with ideas. This isn't better or worse, but it is different. And when you're operating from a different value system, the standard measures of social success simply don't apply. You're not failing at friendship. You're playing a different game entirely. Chapter 10. The Path Forward. So what do you do with all this? Let me give you something practical. First, stop apologizing for who you are. Your traits aren't flaws to fix. They're features to understand. Second, seek environments where your natural state is valued. You won't find deep connection in shallow places. Stop swimming upstream trying to fit into spaces that weren't designed for people like you. Third, recognize that one genuine connection is worth more than 1,000 followers, likes, or surface friendships. Quality isn't just a preference. For people like you, it's a requirement. And fourth, give yourself permission to need recovery time. Solitude isn't loneliness. For many, solitude is where the real work gets done. I want to leave you with this. Having few friends doesn't make you broken. It might just make you rare. The people who see you, really see you, are out there. They're just rare too. And rare things take longer to find. Your depth isn't a burden. Your standards aren't too high. Your need for authenticity isn't demanding. These are the traits of someone who refuses to settle for less than real. And in a world full of superficial connections and curated personas, that makes you exactly what the world needs more of. So the next time you feel alone in a crowded room, remember, You're not lacking connection. You're waiting for the right one. And that's worth the wait. Learn something new? Hit that like button, share it with others, tap subscribe, and stick around for more. Got thoughts? I'd love to hear them in the comments.